Now to your old mate Prince Harry, the book, which of course was the tale of woe, the 6 hours of television which we'll never get back. But then there is something that has been an interesting offshoot to all of this. Prince Harry, of course, in part, basically bragged about killing the best part of 25 people while he was serving his country. And now that is being served up as a reason to ignore some of the complaints about the Iranian justice system, Megyn.
Mm-hmm. The Iranians just executed a guy who they think was spying for the Brits, a British Iranian guy. And they're unapologetic about it. And they're basically saying, you Brits who are upset about this, who are you to lecture us? You got a member of your royal family who's out there bragging about killing Taliban soldiers as if they're not people, as if they're just chess pieces on a board. They quoted from his book.
So, my number, 25. It wasn't a number that gave me any satisfaction, but neither was it a number that made me feel ashamed.
And so, look, while the Iranians are bad, the regime is bad. They kill people for being gay. They kill you for protesting. They killed this young woman while she was in custody because she didn't have on the right headscarf. They deny it. This is who they are. There's no question that he gave them a talking point. He gave them a talking point, and it was totally unnecessary. And his only beef in doing in all of this has been, I didn't actually boast about it. This is really the fault of the British press. They said that I boasted about those kills, and that's not true at all. So any danger that's been caused to anybody is the British press's fault, not mine. You know what the Iranians did? They're upset about the fact that he said chess pieces on a board. That doesn't come from the British press. That comes directly from Prince Harry, but as always, he cannot take responsibility for anything, Paul. He should just come out and say, on second thought, on further reflection, I shouldn't have included that in the book. Here's where my intentions were. It was poorly executed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminds me a little bit of when he turned around and in promoting things suggested, we never said that the royal family was racist. That was just the way the media interpreted it. Hang on. You openly inferred that a member of the royal family was talking about what colour the baby would be. That, by inference, is racist. They sat back and didn't interrupt Oprah when she was doing the whole what of it. But of course, it was all about the interpretation. And look, here's the thing. I'm fine for people to have their truth, but you've also got to have a little bit of introspection. You've got to be willing to stand up and say, I got it wrong. And even after you've gone through the process of writing a book, he's got to do exactly what you said, which is to say, look, I'm sorry, I wish I wrote it differently, shouldn't have said it in interviews, but instead, it's all as you say. It's your fault for seeing that the sky is blue. And you're going, hang on, no, the sky is blue, Harry.
Can I just... what you just mentioned about Oprah is so fulfilling to me. Nobody has made this point, and you are so right. It's one of the most irritating parts of their exchange, and one of the parts that makes it so not believable how Harry and Meghan are now saying we never claimed racism. The whole acting job, Meghan Markle is an actress. Yeah. So is Oprah Winfrey. That was all scripted out. If you don't think that was planned and arranged beforehand, you don't understand how Oprah Winfrey does her television show. It's not journalism. It's acting. And so for Meghan to sit there while Oprah was doing the What? They were concerned about how dark your baby, and then Meghan Markle with her doe eyes tearing up like, oh, and now they're like, racism? Who, us? We never said that. No. Let's give them a pass on Oprah for a second. They called 17 million people in Great Britain racists. That they unequivocally did a month ago in their Netflix documentary. So they love to throw that charge around. This same couple that's running around saying the British press is mean. They use nasty words about us. That apparently just got this one guy fired from his online deals with Amazon because he wrote a nasty column about Meghan. They want him fired even though he apologized. Where's their apology to the 17 million Brits, to the royal family for spewing claims of racism, which when false are more pernicious in some cases than actual racism, because it leads people to disbelieve actual cases of racism. That's what they did.
Correct. And when you talk about Jeremy Clarkson, who's pretty famous in this country as well, what I find, this is a bit of a symbol about how the modern left works, right? Which is they point at you, you say sorry, they say, see, he or she admitted it, off with their head. And as a lawyer, and just as a common sense person, I want to live in a world that has different gradients in it that says, you know what, sometimes an apology is enough, sometimes a suspension is enough, sometimes a warning is enough, sometimes a little bit of, couple of months out and then come back's enough. But it seems pretty binary now. If you get pointed at by enough people on Twitter, it's off with your head, never exist, never earn another dollar. Your children should change their name for fear of Googling you as their parent.
Oh, and it's now they don't learn. You know, they're citing it to prove how outrageous Jeremy Clarkson's results were, his comments were. They're citing the number of complaints that were received by government officials. Have we learned nothing from the Piers Morgan controversy?
Yes.
They received a lot of complaints when he said he didn't believe the Duchess of Duplicity during her Oprah interview, and he turned out to be 100% right. So he has no apology, even though he lost that job, and now they want to do it again. Just because you get a lot of complaints doesn't mean the guy needs to be fired. He did apologize. The remarks were just a bad joke. If you've watched Game of Thrones, you knew exactly what he was making a reference to. The paper published it. It's not like anybody there said, oh no, the horror, right? So it's like it went through a couple layers. So fine. I think in this circumstance, he should have come out and said, I should have made more clear that this was a reference to Game of Thrones, which he now has said, and said, you know, sometimes I poke the bear and sometimes it lands and sometimes it doesn't. To those who are offended, I'm sorry, and move on. But the personal apology to Megyn and Harry, of course it fell flat. These are not magnanimous people. And of course they missed an amazing opportunity to, for once, look like the bigger people. They should have just come out and said, you know what? We accept your apology. We appreciate it. People would have actually started to like them. But no, they had to shame him even more. They couldn't accept his apology. They claimed it was only to Harry. He says it was to both of them. Maybe just the email was to Harry because he only had that email address. I don't know. But I don't really believe them because they lie so often. And yet again, they retreat to their woke instincts and refuse to extend a modicum of grace.